through.
All right.
Dragon Magazine, #1. And you know what? If you like Dragon Magazine, or even if you don't, you should subscribe.
There you go. Wow,
And
look at that.
I almost think that I should put the segment 1, because it's just a flip through. I'm not ranting about it. Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm going with the segment 1
Okay.
order. And then if we do the second part, we'll see how long this takes. And if we do the second one, the actual potential rant, the opinion commentary, we'll do. We'll put up the segment 2 thing. Anyway, so in case anybody cares, because I don't know why we do this. It became a thing with us. But to prove that we didn't steal shit. Well, apparently I stole it because I can't find. Oh, there we go. And yes, I know you can get the stuff online. Actually, Dungeon's a lot easier than Dragon, but I have the CDs. Those are the CDs. They're the first 250 episodes or issues of Dragon Magazine. I think these CDs are like 15 years old. I can't remember when they were put out, but I figured that since I don't have time to do any real research anymore until I move back to the States, I'll one of the things people have been doing a lot of, I've been seeing a lot of different videos of people just flipping through books. Well, I'm not going to flip through a D&D book when 100 other people have already done it. Maybe 100 people have done this as well. I don't know. But let's flip through the first issue of Dragon Magazine with the refrigerator art. You could tell this was first issue from, hey, let's just see if this thing will sell. I mean, hey, look, it's in color.
Yeah, that's something, right?
1970.
Well, it's mostly color. It's in mostly color. It's in
mostly color. 1976. So let's be happy. I mean, you could tell color theory wasn't important when you look at the green on reddish, whatever, orange. But hey, it's the first. It was the first issue. So let's just go through and let's see what's in this first issue. No, we're not going to read through a lot of stuff or anything like that. That'd be boring for everybody. But we're just going to page through. So the first thing we come across is the Battle of the Five Armies. $5 revised edition. Woo. In the year 2941, Third Age, 5 armies came together in the arms of the Lonely Mountain in a titanic struggle known as Battle of the Five Armies.
Dum dum dum.
You got a 4-color map board.
Wow.
Look at that. We're splurging now. 150
and revised rules, over 150 unit counters in multiple colors and packaged in a Ziploc bag for easy storage.
Now, if you got in a Ziploc bag, you'd be like, well, that's a few dollars off. That's a markdown. And it'll be available on July 1st. Back when TSR was a thing. Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, remember back then, it was more about miniature wargaming.
Yep.
Than it was about Dungeons and Dragons. Also, this was based on, and I have them too, but it was actually based on a, here we go, Strategic Review. Which was like a much smaller publication that they put out. I guess I could have started with that, but I didn't. But how do we get into this, and what are we going to do now that we're here? And this just details what the point of this publication is about. And there we go, June 1976. A lot of people that are watching this probably weren't even born then. June 76, I had not turned 3 years old quite yet. Very close to it, though.
I was 2 months old.
I was 2 months away from turning 3. And we've got a little something by Fritz Lieber here. It's a name I've heard of before, but to be fair, I don't know a lot about him. I am not a huge fan of Lankhmar. I don't know if you are. The City of Thieves.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. No.
It isn't something I really got into, but let's consider this for a moment. Lankhmar. This is long before first edition AD&D.
Mm-hmm.
And we're already talking Lankhmar. And he's got this little back and forth where he's just talking about what the expectations of it were. And the main thing I took from it was that I don't know what the world is. I just write about it. It's like, okay. Like, I wasn't given all this weird information. I just wrote. Okay. So when people ask me questions, what about this? What about that? He's like,
Don't know yet.
Yeah, don't know. In the Cauldron, apparently this guy, he must have had a segment in that was strategic, whatever the hell it was, publication. Because now he's saying, look, what I say here, my opinions, Don't get mad at TSR for what I say. Remember back when you could do stuff like that? Look at this. If you disagree with something that appears here, don't hold the publisher, TSR Hobbies, liable. There you go. Nowadays, oh my God, you're canceled. You said some poo-poo words I didn't like. You couldn't even put this in here. They'd be canceling you before you even started saying anything. But CityTech 76, this is great. We recently received a promo flyer for, or Cytex, I guess it'd be Cytex 76. Imagine our surprise when we read that we were to be in attendance and that Gary Gygax would be doing D&D. We were further amazed to see that the lion's share of the games advertised to be played were TSR games. This was the first we knew of any of this. For the record, we have no intention whatsoever of being at Cytex. We disavow any connection to the event. Do not be misled. Cytex 76 is making false promises. As a passing note, we are also rather skeptical of their claim that they were hosting DibCon. Thought this was to be in Baltimore. To be continued. And yes, and there apparently UPS had a strike in 1976. So not only was there oil embargoes, there was a strike. And Diplomacy World, the Battle of the Five Armies in miniature.
It goes over like what the basic rules.
You start combining this with chainmail, but basically, yeah, these are like movement rates of handling. Well, here's Gandalf, and you've got goblins riding creatures and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. I think I understand what this stuff means, but because I haven't actually played it, I don't want to embarrass myself more than I probably already am by doing this. So, yeah, I think that just means 4 heavy foot soldiers, but it could be wrong. Somebody's like, "Oh my God, you're stupid." Yeah, probably, because I didn't play. I was 3 years. I wasn't even 3 years old. Chainmail modifications, but you're supposed to relate these rules to chainmail, which makes sense because Gygax, you know. A little webcomic here, which I still haven't read the one after this one, so I don't know if this is going anywhere. So we're going to pass that. It wasn't funny at all. I didn't get it. How to use a non-prime requisite character attributes. Now, I actually want to focus on this one a little bit. Why? Because it's hilarious to me. It is so 1970s, 80s. If you think Palladium is bad math, or if you think THACO is bad, let's look at this. I'm not going to read this verbatim. What I'm going to tell you is this would be effectively an attribute check. So imagine you're playing Dungeons & Dragons and you're telling somebody to make an attribute check, okay?
Okay.
So whenever a player attempts some action which would tax his ability in any attribute, generate a number from 1 to 100 and consult the table below. So I don't have a die roller up. You want to pick a number between 1 and 100, or you want to roll some dice?
54.
Okay, 54. 54 says roll an 8-sided die. We'll get back to that. You remember that 8-sided die.
Okay.
Using the type of die called for, generate a number and multiply this number by the amount of the attribute being tested. So pick a number between 1 and 8.
6.
Okay, 6. And let's say your attribute's an average 10. So that's 60. Okay? Or we could just use the example here. Let's just use the example here, because then you can see the numbers.
Okay.
I'll zoom in. There. Consider Grodd the fighter. His
Grodd
scores are
strong.
strength.
Not smart, but Grodd strong. Grodd not wise.
Well, yeah, you're right. Grodd's not wise enough.
Grodd step in bear trap lot, but Grodd strong.
And he can take the bear trap.
He can.
Remember, these are first edition. Actually, these are basic.
Yep.
So these are probably rolled in order. So anyway, so his scores are 17. So if he's been attacked, or if Grogg's party had been attacked by a pair of bugbears, Grog wants 3 of his minions to hold off the bugbears while Grodd rolls away the boulder blocking the exit to the dungeon. So will the minions fight? Well, he has to make a charisma check. So instead of just rolling 12 or less, you know, the way we would do it nowadays, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, die roll. He got a 42. So that was on the percentile die, 42. So that means roll an 8-sided die. So Grodd's charisma is 12. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot about that part. You add the attribute to it also.
Oh, okay.
54. So 42 plus his attribute is 54. So he rolls an 8-sided die, scoring a 7. There is a 7 times 12, or 84 chance that the minions will fight.
Wow. So you had to do all that math just to get your target number.
Just to get your target number.
To convince people that are considered your minions to do what you say.
Now
right?
he wants to move. Yeah, exactly. Now he wants to move that thingamajiggy, right? The boulder.
All right.
So he rolls a 66, and you add that to his strength of 17. That equals 83. Now he rolls a 12-sided. That 66 was a 12-sided. I'm sorry, the 83. The 83 is a 12-sided die. But this time he rolls a 3 on the 12-sided die. So there's a 3 times 17, because that's the strength score, or 51% chance he'll be able to move the boulder away this turn.
Wow.
Look, while the math isn't hard, and I've read this before, I'm still stumbling through it again.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. It's not hard math. There's just a lot of it.
Right. You have to do right. But this is such the nature of gaming in the 70s.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you have 1801 stats or 18 double ought stats, the numbers become even different. So, enjoy. And of course, it's 1801 to 1820 is 18. Okay. But yeah, I just wanted to show that. And it tells how to use the different attributes, because apparently, nobody back then knew how to use the attributes because basic D&D didn't have a lot of actual information provided. So it tells here what each of the actual attributes are good at doing. And nowadays, most of what we say, yeah, that makes sense. All right. Magic and science. Are they compatible in D&D? Well, I'm going to tell you this by reading this article. The science was magic. Okay, I mean, it was... This is where you first get artificers. And notice they call them a race. They're like Atlanteans or whatever. They have a lot... They use technology instead of magic. Really, they're just using magic disguised as technology.
Right, technomancy.
Yeah, that'd be the best way to describe as technomancy, because they're still shooting blue balls. They got these spheres, which the largest sphere is the worst one, the smallest sphere is the best one, because it's a show of, look at, I've compiled it all into this small little area, which does all these effective magic abilities. And they have a computer. Oops. The computer. That's right. Continued on page 10. We're on page 8, so we have to skip here, go down to page 10, and here's the rest of it. And it talks about the computer's limitations and what it can do. I mean, it's able to analyze up to 100 spells sent at. I mean, this is what Wild Wild West does. Anywho, languages. Could you repeat that in Aldwormish? Essentially, this article goes on to say that characters speak like 4 million languages, apparently, in basic D&D.
Yeah. And
why not have them speak more? I go the opposite route. Honestly, I go the opposite route. I never use alignment languages. I think they're dumb. I don't like the idea of people speaking 400 languages. Maybe the wizard. Maybe somebody, I grew up over here. Well, then you can't talk to the rest of your party. Shut up. I mean, even in the real world today, America is bad by most people only knowing one language. Like in Europe, most people know 2, sometimes 3 languages, at least passably. But we're also a highly educated society comparatively. Yeah, how many people in Germany spoke French and Polish? Hell, Bavaria and High German were different. I mean, so I don't like it, but it goes into talking about how, well, if you know one language, you probably know a language that's close to it at a 30%, 60%, or 70% chance. Now, this is specifically talking about alignment languages, but this is the theory of what this article is saying. Mm-hmm. Then it goes into how far does language ability go? One can talk to animals. One can talk to plants. Can one talk to bugs? Can one talk to bacteria? Stones?
No.
I have encountered one character who took wall as a language. Okay. This is why there has to be rules in games and a little bit of common sense in the middle.
Sense. Yeah.
So, I don't know, bits and pieces, 20 languages going, but not, yeah, but the whole point of this is conversational. I mean, I learned how to write in Egyptian hieroglyphics. I mean, I don't remember any of it now, but I've always had a fascination with stuff like that. I know bits and pieces of many different languages. I actually went to school for 3 different languages that right now I would not be able to speak fluently in any way, shape, or form. Even conversationally, I could probably do French conversationally. Russian, I could get somewhere without getting killed. But
no. Well, no, you'll get directions there, but it'll be through a bad part of town and you'll be killed.
Right. Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
So anyway, talks about the common tongue. Okay. It's just more language stuff. Wargaming world. Hey, summer's upon us. You need a DM somewhere? Well, here are people. Oh, no, I'm sorry. These are the conventions. Is Michicon still a convention?
No.
It's not. Okay. Oh, it was back then.
Yep.
Of course, you have Gen Con and Lake Geneva. That was back was it Lake Geneva?
Lincoln Park. Oh my God.
Where? Oh,
That's where Michicon was. Lincoln Park. You don't want to go there now.
Oh, okay.
It is not a good part of town.
Did you want to go there then?
Well, then yes, maybe, but not now. No.
Okay. So, yep, they shut off some conventions. Let's see, Gen Con update, $450 in prizes. Woo! For the whole convention.
Wow.
And 44 tournaments. I think for all of this, you could add like 2 zeros on for Gen Con now, which is partly a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the fact that there are more people in the hobby is a good thing. The bad part about it is half of Gen Con is freaking anime cosplay nonsense. Get that shit out of Gen Con. Oh, wait, that's where they make all their money, and it's a business. If it wasn't for meeting you guys at Gen Con, I'd never go again. I seriously wouldn't, because you've been there. It's all anime cosplayers now. The search for the Forbidden Chamber. Do you know this name?
Jake Jaquette?
Nope. I would guess it's French and it's Jacquet, but oh yeah, whatever. Do a Google search and tell me what you find. By the way, remember this is 1976.
Got it.
That's some Greyhawk.
I spell it Jaqut. Forgotten Realms wiki. RPG designer.
Mm-hmm. What's her name now?
Gary. What? It was Gary Jaquette or Jacquet or whatever, but what is it now?
It's like Janelle or something like that. I forget. So we continue from page 6 where we talk about Gandalf and so forth in those games. Dwarves never need to check for morale when fighting goblins. Well, that makes sense. If anything is unclear to you, if anything is unclear to you, please feel free to write me. If there's anything I missed, I'm sure there's something. Make it up using common sense and chainmail as a guideline. And of course, here these pages get a little wider. There's just rules for how to handle that in the chainmail game. Remember, I wouldn't say games are complicated then, but man, did they have a lot of nuance to them.
Yeah, I'm not getting anything for Jake Jaquette past 1984.
I'm not thinking of the wrong person, am I? I don't think I am.
Hold on. This is all Dragon Magazine. This is it. You might be thinking of the wrong person, but not making anything past 1984 in any of the wikis.
Oh, you know what? I might be thinking of the wrong person. I thought that was the name that I remembered. Hold on. I know it's somebody in this because when I saw the name, I had to look it up and go, wait a minute. I know that there's some news around that person. I might have the wrong person. Oh, I have a problem with this creature. We're going to talk about this for a little bit. What does lawful good language sound like, right? It sounds like la 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 la.
Wait. I look at this and I think land shark.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's the boulette. And no, before somebody argues with me and says it's pronounced boulet, fuck you, it is not. How do you get boulet out of this? And the first moron who says French, you're a moron. Because boulet in French would not have the final T and E on there. Then I'd say it's boulet. So there's no part of this that's boulet. I will never call it boulet. It's boulette. And plus it kind of looks like a bullet. Actually, I usually just call it land shark. But no. And this has permeated D&D from here, 1976, all the way through to 5th edition. 5th edition D&D. So, now, it's a boulette. Either that or get rid of the final T and E. if you want to say, oh, it's a French word. But yeah, anyway, I thought it was neat that they incorporated that in. I don't know if this is the first ever instance of it, but it is a kind of an iconic creature, don't you think?
Mm.
Mapping the dungeons. This is what I was going to mention earlier. DM listings. Nowadays you have DMs everywhere. Still more players than DMs. I mean, I know some people have a hard time finding a DM. Yeah. Paul, this is the person I was thinking of. I'm sorry, Paul Jacquet. That's the name to look up. Oh, he went away. I'm sorry. I got my name screwed up. My Jacquets. Yes.
So he's what, a random registered dungeon master.
No, he's actually pretty famous. He's actually pretty famous. Well, because this is a transgender person now. That's why I was going to have you look her up and take a look. Yeah, it's actually a game designer and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So from Spring Arbor, Michigan. Let's see if there are any other people on here. That was the only name. That's right. That's the only name that I looked at and said, I know that name. And I had to look up, like, why would I know a random DM somewhere? So I had to go look that up. And it's like, oh, that's why I know the name. Hints for D&D judges. Part 2 Wilderness. Think of this as like the initial offering of what would later on become the Wilderness Survival Guide.
Okay.
I know somebody's be like, no, it isn't. Look, I'm not reading every word in this damn thing. I mean, I did for my purposes, but not. I don't want to bore the crap. We're already down to 13 viewers now, so got a little picture of Conan. Der Krieg Spielers. I still can't speak German. I've been here damn near 10 years. Wargamers. Wow, look at those miniatures. Aren't those great? Those fantastic looking miniatures?
Oh yeah, zoom in. I want to see all of that beautiful pixel footage.
100 DPI. Hey, 1976, man. They were probably using the crank. I had one of those in my Lutheran school that I went to. Those little crank copiers that just smudged everything. And if you went too fast, it would just like smear it across. It was kind of funny. Magic Miscellaneous, so it talks about the illusionist, and hey, look what happens if you level up more. And it talks about how to use certain illusion spells and so forth. Royal Armies of the Hyborian Age editions. Well, I don't know what game that is, but obviously it has something to do with Conan. So, yeah. Lynn Carter, Scott Bizarre. Look at this high quality production.
Oh yeah, big time.
Hobbits and Thieves and Dungeons by the G-Man himself. Thank you for showing up for your own publication. Let's see what else. Okay. Press release. Classic Warfare. I don't remember reading this one. Oh, that's because it was miniature fighting stuff, and I get bored of it. I'm not a fan. How do I say it? I appreciate it, but I don't really play miniature warfighting games, whether they're the modern ones or even the old ones. The Gnome Cache. This is a story, and apparently it goes on from publication to publication. I like this picture. I've never pictured dwarves like this, but now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it. Like just a tunnel of dwarves and gems in like safe deposit boxes. I mean, okay. Kindreds of elves. Okay, so this just talks about different types of elves that can be in your game. There is one thing I wanted to show.
Gen Con 9.
I know, right? Special
3 full days of gaming. 3.
Well, yeah, now it's 4. Well, they've only increased one more. They could make that damn thing a week, I think, or at least 5 days. Lake Geneva. God, that was such a small little area.
I know.
Okay, there was one thing in here. Well, you know what? I'm not going to go fighting for it. They talk about Rickenbacker Air Force Base in here.
Why?
Have you ever heard of something like an event was going to happen there? And maybe it was one of those things I just glossed over, but I was like, Rickenbacker, I've heard of that. I know it's in Ohio somewhere, but that base was, well, it became just a guard base in 1980. So But at this point, it was still a full-on Air Force base, kind of like Duluth. Duluth, Minnesota had an Air Force base as well. All right. We're going to do this. Like I said, well, I'm going to do this, kind of go over these things. And if anybody ever wanted to just stop and say, hey, let's check out that, that item or whatever, we can do that. The future was obviously the magazine gets better. But I don't think that was bad for a first run, 1976.
Well, we would have to compare it to, similar publications of the time to actually critique the quality.
Sure, but remember that even though that this was a TSR publication, it's one of the things he says at the beginning, like, hey, now that we're a full-on company, we can provide you stuff like this. But they still didn't have the production quality. They still didn't have artists on board and so on and so forth. It's all described right in that first intro, where hey, we're just getting started here, so give us a minute to get going. Obviously, it gets better, but even still, if to be fair, yeah, Gygax was older than this, and so was Arneson and so forth. But this is really just like a college newspaper type thing put on by some people at home. Yes, it's a full-on company, but you get what I'm saying. So I look at it and I say, that's actually pretty neat. Like, just to go back to see the first one. Was there anything in there that interested me? Not a damn thing. Not yet. I mean, it's so miniatures gaming heavy, but it is important to see the roots of where the hobby came from. I think, anyway. So you can see, one day we'll do number 250, which will be the last one, and we'll take a look at what the difference is there and what they're talking about, so on and so forth. But that was just wanted to flip through that. Yeah, that was my lazy. So if you want me to flip through more, we have everybody unsubscribing now because no more of that. But if you want me to flip through more, go ahead and subscribe. Or if you want me to do something else, post it in comments, so on and so forth, and we'll take a look at it.